Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so today we're going to be going over, um, we're going to be giving you guys some insight on what it's like to be a peer academic advisor for the School of Social Sciences. And we're going to be going over some basic application processes, interview tips, and office dynamics. And then at the very end, we're going to be answering any questions or concerns you guys may have about being a academic advisor for the School of Social Sciences. So we're going to start off with some really quick introductions. My name is Erika Meraz, and I am double majoring in psychology.
Our office consists of somewhere between 10 to 12 PAAs with a diverse selection of majors within social sciences, where a lot of us are involved in various extracurriculars such as clubs, research, honors, and have a strong academic performance.
Sorry about that. The minimum eligibility to apply to be a PAA is to be a current sophomore or junior, or if you're a senior and you're graduating spring 2026, you are also eligible to apply. We would prefer for applicants to have a 3-point GPA or better. You will also have to be available for mandatory training from 5 to 7 p.m. every Thursday for the spring 2025 quarter, and you will have to be available to work throughout summer 2025. This will include new student advising during events like SPA, transfer advising, and peer academic advisor training. Lastly, you will also have to be available to work part-time, which is 10 hours per week for the entirety of the 2025-2026 academic year.
Okay, so this is our application timeline, something very important to keep in mind. Our application is due January 17th, which is in 2 days. And then you guys will go into interviews, and that will be from week 3 to week 7. And then finally, you'll get notified whether or not you get the offer on February 25th during week 8.
Okay, yeah. So as previously mentioned, to be a peer academic advisor for the School of Social Sciences, you do have to be available to work at least 10 hours a week. And then this is kind of just like a rundown of our working hours. So Monday to Thursday, we work doing walk-ins, and walk-ins are from 9 to 12 a.m. And then we have like a lunch break, and then we resume from 1 to 4 p.m. And in addition to walk-ins from Monday to Thursday, we have drop-ins on Fridays, and then these are via Zoom. So hours depend on when most PAAs are available. And yes, it's usually around one Zoom session would be around an hour and a half. And then during your walk-ins, as a PAA, your main goal is just to assist students and answer any questions or concerns they may have regarding their academic progress and experience. And you would do that by completing either a degree check, change of major check, complete a graduation check, or just provide course recommendations, and also be able to refer resources to students in need. And then in order to do things, you would also use other resources such as DegreeWorks, assist.org, Slade, and so on. If you are selected to be a PAA, we'll have our own summer training, and then we kind of go through what these resources are and how to get familiar around them. And then this is kind of a brief example of a um, degree check for psychology BS. Um, as well as the change of major sheet. And as I previously mentioned, you'll get familiar with these during your training. You'll learn about like each major specifically, and yes.
So let's introduce the benefits of being a PAA. First of all, you can definitely build leadership and communication skills by helping students and guiding them through their academic journeys, helping them to not only just find out their successful pathway, help them to finish their finish their major courses. So it is very important if some like if you are going to consume some counseling, or you want to be you want to be a counselor or a talking therapist in the future. I think being a PAA will be helpful for your communication skill, and you will know all the in and outs of the degree requirements, course planning, and campus resources. You'll be the first ones who know the renewal of all the requirements, and then you can definitely add this experience or the leadership experience to your resume. And that saying that advising can give you the teamwork and problem solving and the leadership experience, and it is extremely rewarding to know that you're making a real difference in someone's college experience. So PAAs are definitely a close group. I would say our office has a very good environment and relationships between everyone, and you will definitely make friends and work together towards common goals.
Just some interview tips for your interview. So you want to arrive at least 10 to 15 minutes early and check in the front desk, 1201 SBSG. You want to dress and act professionally, so you want to approach this like how you would any other job interview. Dress the part and act the part. You want to be prepared to answer questions and provide insight on yourself and your interest in the position. Say why you want to be a PAA, how you would benefit the PAA position. You want to be honest and be yourself. We want to see your true personality. That's the best that you could do in any job interview, is just come being yourself and 100% authenticity. You want to be prepared to mention any of your campus involvements and express how your past experiences prepares you for the PAA position. You want to visit the office beforehand to understand the office dynamic and meet the PAAs. This will be a good opportunity for you to see what the PAA office is like. And you want to be prepared with any questions you may have for the interviewers at the end of the interview.
And then this is what the full-time advisors look for when they're doing the interviews for the PAAs. So they're looking for someone who's good with attention to detail. Since you are working with students and their academics, you have to be paying attention to what you're sharing with them, and you need to be making sure that you're writing down the correct courses that they're taking. A PAA should be a welcoming person since they interact with most of our students. We are who see the students the most, so it's good to have a positive attitude when you're talking to them. A student or a person who's eager to help and would love to have a positive influence on their fellow undergraduate students. A lot of the students come for us and they see us as a useful resource, so we want to make sure that we are helping the students in any way that we can. A PAA should be responsible for the commitment that they've made to this job. So don't apply unless you can make it to the training events, show up to work on time, and commit to this job for the entire academic year. The full-time advisors are also looking for someone who's humble and who's willing to take feedback and learn from it and grow. And we were just looking for someone who has a genuine interest in helping others.
Sometimes the office slows down, especially during weeks 3 to 7. So we have some projects that we can choose from to work on during those times. One of those activities is the welcome emails. We send emails to people who added a major or switched into a major under the School of Social Sciences and provide them with information and resources to help ease their transition into their major.
Aside from emails, we also run 2 main Instagram accounts. So the study abroad one, we advertise the opportunity to study abroad. And then the Soc Sci PAA one, which is the one we mainly focus on. We introduce ourselves at the beginning of the school year, and then we'll make flyers for any deadlines or important events coming up. And then we also do SPOP and the New Student Convocation to help first years help them enroll in classes and get used to UCI life. So that's really it from us. Now we are wondering if anyone has any questions. We're happy to answer them.
I had a question. Um, I'm planning to study abroad next fall in 2025. Is that gonna affect like the acceptance into this program, or should I apply another year?
Yes. So as previously mentioned, we really do want to have a student that's like committed to like working the whole academic school year. So it might have an influence on whether or not the full-time advisors decide to accept you as an applicant. But yeah, it just depends how strong of a candidate you are and like how you said you were doing next fall, correct?
Right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so in the past we've had students who are studying abroad and are also PAAs, but it just um depends on again like the full-time advisor and whatever their judgment is.
Okay. Sounds good.
Mhm.
I would also make sure to say that at the interview, make it clear that you plan to study abroad so that we know beforehand.
Thank you.
For the work during summer outside of summer training, usually we'll work in a spot that is the meeting for all the freshmen and maybe their parents. And then we usually go to the panels or we have other working opportunities, but usually it won't be long. And whether you're available or not, it is quite flexible that we don't have like a mandatory that you need to work for so many hours. But we do hope that you can maybe come to the events because it will really help you a lot, especially when you just finished the training and haven't been in the office. PA and the panels will definitely help the freshmen, also help yourself to get used to how it is like working in the as a PAA in the office.
To add on to what Vesta said, with the student parent orientation program, the hours for like each of the spots is just like as she mentioned, there's gonna be a panel which is 1 hour, and then usually you help with advising from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So it's not that much hours like taking up your whole day or not.
Yes, I saw a similar question in the chat. They asked, do we have to attend all SPOPs or only a small number of them? So the School of Social Sciences does work all 10 SPOPs, including international SPOPs. And ideally, we would want you to try to attend as many SPOPs as you can. If you have to miss like one or two, understandable, but if you like miss out on like a good portion of them, it might also influence whether or not you will be accepted to the as a peer academic advisor. Yes. So somebody in the chat asked, what are some of your funniest moments being a peer academic advisor? Does anybody have any funny moments they want to share?
I don't have an exact funny moment, but I would say every time I'm in the office, there's always something like we're laughing about with the full-time advisors or the other peer academic advisors. I just feel like the group dynamic is very lively in a sense, and I always look forward to coming to work.
I remember some funny moments. It was last week, last Wednesday that we have a lot of funny moments. And just in case, like it's not like every day is so funny. Usually, we have a lot of students that may have a something stressful, and but sometimes it's quite fun because our environment is we are very inclusive and everybody's chill. So last week is like there was a twin and they have similar name, similar appearance, they have similar clothes. So two advisor, our Erica and Haley took them, but when they call on their name, I think it was because the lobbyists to have too many people or it's a little bit loud or something. They thought they thought like the twins thought they were calling someone the other, and they went to the different advisors that day.
I think there's a question about how many days a week the position requires. So, the position requires, I think, 10 hours a week, and usually every quarter, um, Estella, our supervisor, will work with us to make like schedules so that there's enough peer academic advisors like in the hours that the offices are open. So it honestly depends on like your classes. Um, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah, so if you're not able to come to the office like from Monday to Thursday frequently, we always have one day that's for drop in. That means like we do advising online so that if you can join that, that will also count as time. So don't need to worry about.
Does anybody have any other questions? Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna ask a question to you guys and then to the peer academic advisors and see if you guys have any insight. So we all went through the application process. So do you guys have any like personal tips yourselves that you think would be helpful for any applicants?
I can go first, and I think I'm just going to echo what Caitlin shared earlier in her interview tips. And I guess this is also with the application. Just be honest and be authentic when you show up to these spaces, because I'm sure you're applying since you are interested in helping your peers and, using your own experiences to help them as students. So always be honest. And if you do have any questions, always ask those questions during the interviews and in the application if possible, because you might not be certain about some things, and it's better to just get that out of the way and be on the same page instead of finding out later that something might not work for you or is in conflict. So yeah, I think that's something that I would stress on.
Um, a tip that I have is like I feel like for the interview, I was really stressed out and like scared. But honestly, once you meet our full-time advisors, no matter who's interviewing you, like you'll realize that they will create a space for you where you feel comfortable talking to them. And my interview, and I feel like a lot of people's interviews were just like a conversation more so than an actual like interview. So don't be scared about that part at all.
A tip I have is just don't underestimate yourself. There's no really cookie cutter. Like, we're not looking for a specific type of peer academic advisor. I was worried with like my background that I didn't have that many things or I was too introverted. But honestly, just like also to like echo everyone else, just be yourself, as cliche as it is.
My advice is that don't be too nervous because one of the big factor of this job is to communicate with other people. So if you become so nervous and cannot talk properly, maybe that will be the reason that you cannot get the chance to work at the PAA. So just refer the interviewers as your friends or your advisors and take it easy. If you have any question that will make you feel so stressful and you don't think you can find an answer, you can also tell them that you may need some time to think about it, and they're glad to give you that time.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Um, One more question. What do you guys think is the most rewarding part about being a peer academic advisor?
I think personally, after seeing like every student I've been with, like they always say, "Oh, thank you so much," or they say something on the lines of like, "This was really, really helpful. Um, I really appreciate this." And I think that every time I hear that, um, it like makes me feel good. Um, and so I think that that's um the best thing that has come out of this job, honestly. Yeah.
I would agree with Shiri. I think knowing that I can help others and being able to help them is really rewarding and satisfying to me. And also just the connections I've been able to make with the other PAAs.
For me, would just be making connections with either the people in our office or the walk-ins that we have, because I feel like you don't really get so much interaction while you're in class, and then hearing like people saying thank you or like just rambling about their life is honestly really rewarding to get to connect with people and realize like UCI isn't as small as it seems.
The most rewarding moments for me is probably the time I saw people requesting me to advise them, because sometimes they will have the same major with you, or they speak the same language, so they want you to advise them and so that they can have a better experience. And then the other rewarding time is when my friend who know that I'm a peer advisor asks me something about my job, or what's wrong with my degree works, help me, Vesa. And I was like, gotcha. I'll tell you this afternoon what happens, blah, blah, blah. And it makes me feel like I will use all the knowledge I've got from this job to help the people that I like and help people that are my friends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One more question we have is what would you recommend someone do if they don't have like traditional work experience? What can they put on their resume or talk about at the interview?
Yeah, so I personally applied with like no work experience at all. So definitely as like previously mentioned, being yourself is one of like the biggest things um that the full-time advisors look for. And then as well as just being familiar of like where you are and the resources around you. I know one of like my one of the things I did prior to my interview was just going over like what is expected from a peer academic advisor, and that kind of just gave me like the perfect guide of like what I should be talking about. And um, yeah, definitely be familiar with some of the resources offered at UCI and note what you can bring to the table.
Yeah, in my interview, I also brought up like what type of extracurriculars I was involved in on campus. So you can talk about like your club experiences and if you're involved in any clubs or if you're a board member for any one of the clubs, just so you can show that you are involved on campus and you want to further your involvement on campus.
Another advice is that you can always show them how communicative you are, or how much you want to help people, like you're a helpful person, and then maybe how like you have a deep understanding of your major or some part of the school, for example, the honor programs, for example, like what for example, LARC that you use it a lot, that can also be a something that make you different from others.
I also think that being like you don't even have to have any experience, but even being like a different major and then switching into another major. Like in my case, I was undeclared and then switched into psych and then switched into cog sci. Do you learn a lot from, that process, and that's a lot of what you're going to be doing as a peer academic advisor, so you can talk about your experience doing that.
Anyone have any last minute questions? Anything you want to ask us about? Anything you want us to clarify? Okay.
Does any other peer have anything they want to say or share?
Yes. So if you apply for this job, there will be several different choices on it, saying that you want to be a social sci PAA, or you want to be a UU PAA, you want to be, maybe you have other majors, the PA of that office. Definitely choose us.
Okay, just last question so we can wrap this up. For our PAAs, what are some hardships that you think come with being a peer academic advisor?
I think one of the things that I struggle with sometimes is not wanting to look like I don't know the answer. And so, like, um, my first instinct is to be like, it's to give them the answer that I think it is, but I'm not like 100% sure on sometimes. But I always have to remind myself, like, I don't wanna give a student the wrong information, and so even if I think I'm correct, but I'm not 100% sure, like, go to an advisor and just double check with them. There'll always be at least one full-time advisor available or a lead PAA that will know the answer. So never feel, like, silly for not being sure about, like, some information.
Okay, so that concludes our Zoom session. Thank you very much for coming. I do want to mention that if you already submitted the application and then you heard something here that you think you would want to change in your application, you can resubmit it. And then Estella, our supervisor, she will get like that final application. So she'll get your last draft if you want to go back and make any changes.
Yeah, other than that, thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to our UCI Soc Sci PAAs Instagram or at social science Soc Sci PAA at uci.edu. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.